Alright guys, welcome back to segment 2. As you can see, I defunked the board, defunked the heatsink. Always make sure you clean your heat sinks and get all the paste off of the heat sinks, because if you don't, and you put it back on the heat sinks, it's not going to have good contact, it's going to heat up, it's going to red ring, and that's going to be the end of it, and these chips are going to lift right up off the board, and you're going to blow pads and have all kinds of mayhem and insanity. Okay? Now, in this step here, I said we clean the board, clean the fans, clean the heat sink. What I use is Goof Off electric parts cleaner, which is safe on electronics and everything, and it usually cleans up pretty good. And I blow it out with a compressor, and that way then what I do is I prep the pads that we're going to solder. Okay, now we're going to install the JR programmer so we can read this NAND here. Okay, and there's a couple of points here that we have to solder to, and a bunch of points here that we're going to have to solder to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to orient the board here, orientate the board. I'm going to bring it around this way so you're going to be able to see. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this camera right here and I'm going to stick it right on top. Geez, I hope I don't smash any capacitors or anything like that. Right on top of the board. And like I said, forgive my video skills. Sorry. I'm going to try and zoom in here. Don't want to do it out of focus either. Okay. This is going to be really cute. Alright, that way then I got both pads set up here. So you're able to see what the heck is going on. Like I said, forgive my video skills, but you know, hey, this is life. Alright, it's about as good as I'm going to get it, guys. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to fire up our soldering iron. And we're going to set that soldering iron at 774 degrees. If you're using a regular Radio Shack soldering iron, 15 watt will do it. Here's our JR programmer and our wire leads. Okay, now we have to do what's called prepping the pads, and I use no clean flux paste, just simple little tube, simple hydraulic syringe, and I flux the pads very minute amount. You don't need a lot, because the more you put on it, the worse it gets. Alright, the solder will start flowing around. It just turns into a nightmare, and you'll wind up cursing and swearing because you can't get the damn thing to solder to the points. It'll solder to everything else but the damn points, and that kind of sucks. So, yeah. Now we pre-prepped that, and we're going to take out our solder here, which I use a length of. And just typical rosin core solder, thin strand. Alright, always make sure your soldering iron's clean and ready to go. This one is kind of middle of the grade soldering iron. This is a Yahai 968 DB Plus. Okay, I love it. It works pretty good. Okay, with all the stuff that I've done with it already, I haven't had a bit of problems out of this. And what I'll do is I'll preheat the flux paste to turn it into liquid. And I'll do it down here. And it's pretty easy, no big deal. Okay. Now that's done. And then what we're going to do is we're going to apply solder to the pads that we need to solder to. And you're just going to touch it on the motherboard. build up a nice little ball. Okay. That's one. That's two. Okay, this one will be for our power. It's three. This one's going to be for E and F. It's four. That's five. Okay. Then I'm going to come down over here. I'm going to solder these up right here. Like I said, you always got to clean your soldering iron. I use a sponge with some water, and I also use an abrasive pad, or it's a brass pad. One. Two. It's three. It's four. It's five. This one's being a little bit of a pain. So there's nothing easy about this. There we go. There. Okay. Now the pads are prepped. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 and 2. Our 3.3 volt power is going to go here to our Cool Runner Rev D clone. And then we got E and F for RGH2. That's all prepped. Now what we're going to do is we're going to solder our wires to the pad. Okay. I got some light on here because I got to be able to see what the hell I'm doing. And I got a magnifier. Us old farts, our eyes go bad. So, anyway. Alright. Our green is going to go here. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Trying to work around the camera here. Very, very interesting. Okay. Our green wire is going to go here. Now mind you, I already pre-prepped these wires with solder. You just want to make sure you get a decent connection. Pull on it a little bit. Not too hard, okay, but pull on it just a little bit. And that way then you know you got a good connection. Whoops. Into the damn camera thingy. That's funny. Oh, there we go. See, that's another good connection right there. And then we're going to work from the top down on this because the capacitor's getting away and you got to be real careful in between here. And sometimes it'll go easy, sometimes it won't. All depends. Oh, that's good. It's yellow. We have our orange. Here's our orange. And then we got our brown. Which I will loop around the capacitor. Excess strands. You want to make sure that they're not touching one another. Oh, there's our brown. Now this one is red, but I had to extend it, and all I had was white wire, so we're going to use white. There we go. It's white. And then we're going to use black. And there's our black connection. Okay. Now, everything looks pretty good. Nothing looks bridged or anything like that. So, alrighty. Now, what we're going to do here is, now that's done, now we're going to go to our JR programmer. So, excuse me while I zoom out this video here. And we're going to bring this around here. This glare is a killer right here. I know. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the board. We're going to plug our JR programmer back in to our motherboard now. And we're going to go ahead and then we're going to plug that into our USB stick. Our USB cord, I should say. Okay? Then what we're going to do is I'm going to take this plug right here and make sure the board doesn't power on or anything with the JR programmer plugged into it, because you will kill it. Okay? And just plug that right in. That way then we have a connection. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to read the NAND. So we're going to hit read. Version 10, there's our flash config. It's a Jasper. It's a 512 meg big block. Okay, and what you want to do is you want to do a full dump of this. Okay, it takes a while, but you got to do it. And you got to do 2 reads, okay, so that they can compare and everything is working right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to read it. We're going to start reading it right now. And we hit OK. And as you can see, it's reading. And it's reading the NAND. And there it goes. Okay, so we're going to pause this right now and we're going to let it read, because it's going to take it a while for it to read. Okay, so we'll be covering that. We'll be covering what we're doing now once we get the files read. Okay, and we'll move on from there in a little bit.